I told my daughter not to marry him, and I regret it every day. I didn't say it to be cruel. I said it because I truly believed I was protecting her. The day my daughter told me she was going to marry him, something inside me froze. It wasn't just surprise, it was fear. I'd seen the way he walked through life, confident but careless, kind but unpredictable. He wasn't violent or disrespectful, but there was something about him that made my instincts flare. Maybe it was his past. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, like he didn't care whether I approved or not. Or maybe it was that deep down, I wasn't ready to let her go, and he was the one she chose to go with. I told her no, firmly, quietly, and then, louder. I told her he wouldn't take care of her, that she was settling, that she was walking into a life of struggle. I told her she'd regret it. I told her I couldn't support this decision. And when she looked at me, tears in her eyes but her chin raised, I saw it. She wasn't asking for permission. She was asking me to trust her. And I didn't. That's what breaks me now. We think we have time. Time to patch things up, to say sorry, to show up later when we've cooled down. But some moments don't wait. For us, some doors, once closed, don't swing open again the same way. I thought she'd come back, that she'd see I was right, that maybe when things got hard, she'd realize I was only trying to help. Instead, she got married without me. There, no photos of us hugging, no proud smile from me in the audience. Just a phone that didn't ring, and a silence that stretched further than I imagined it could. Years later, I sit with the weight of that choice, not hers, mine. I missed weddings, birthdays, and little ordinary days I'll never get back. And all because I let fear speak louder than love. This isn't a story about blame. It's a story about how even the best intentions can lead us down the wrong path. It's about pride, silence, and the slow, aching realization that you can be right and still lose what matters most. So, if you're a parent, a son, a daughter, or someone who's held their love back because of fear, this story is for you. Because sometimes the person we're trying to protect isn't our child, it's ourselves. And by the time we figure that out, the damage might already be done. She was glowing that day, I remember it clearly. She came home with this soft smile that didn't belong to anyone but herself. The kind of smile people wear when they've fallen in love and started imagining a future. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, fingers tracing the rim of her mug, and said, "Dad, I want you to meet someone." That was the moment I started losing her. And I didn't even know it yet. When he first walked through our front door, I saw a young man trying hard to be confident in a room that didn't welcome him. He was polite, too polite. His eyes scanned our house like he was trying to memorize where not to step. He shook my hand firmly, but I kept my grip cold. I told myself I was just being cautious, just reading the room, just watching, but really, I was judging. I thought I knew what love should look like for her. I had imagined a man with steady work, a clean record, someone who spoke with certainty, who dressed the way I believed a man should. Not someone with paint on his hands and a motorcycle helmet tucked under his arm. Not someone who laughed too loudly or stared too long. I saw risk. I saw imperfection. I saw someone who didn't fit, but she saw something else entirely. She saw someone who made her feel seen. Someone who didn't try to change her, who sat with her in silence, who cheered her on when she doubted herself. She told me he wrote her letters, real ones, with ink on paper. She told me he stayed up with her through panic attacks. She told me he listened to her favorite albums even though he hated them, but all I could hear was, "He's not right for you." So I pushed back. Every conversation turned into an argument. I'd point out his flaws like I was ticking boxes. "He's not financially stable. He doesn't have a plan. You deserve better." But the more I pressed, the more she pulled away. And each time she defended him, I felt her slipping further from the version of her I thought I knew. It's easy, from the outside, to say we act out of love. But looking back, I realized love had very little to do with it. It was control. It was fear. It was my pride dressing up like protection. And the worst part? She kept hoping I would change my mind. Every new conversation, every tense dinner, every hesitant phone call, it was her way of asking, "Are you ready to see him the way I do yet?" But I wasn't, and so she stopped asking. The invitation never came. She knew I wouldn't come, and I made sure of that. Not by saying it outright, but by saying everything else. Every "you'll regret this." Every "don't expect me to support this." Every cold goodbye that left the lying dead on both ends. I left her no space for hope. I built a wall between us and stood on my side, waiting for her to climb back over. She didn't. She got married without me. Without the music I would have picked, without the speech I always dreamed of giving, without my arm walking her down the aisle. The photos she later posted quietly, cautiously, didn't show me at all. I wasn't there. Not in the frame. Not in the moment. Not in her beginning. It wasn't a spiteful thing. It was a survival thing. She needed to feel joy on her wedding day, and I would have poisoned it. My disapproval, my silence, my absence would have sat like a shadow in the room. So instead of carrying that weight, she cut me out of it entirely. Remember sitting in my living room the night she said, "I do," watching the clock move minute by minute. I imagined what song she walked down the aisle to. I wondered if she cried during her vows. I wondered if he did. I sat there with my pride and a glass of something I shouldn't have poured, and I told myself I was doing the right thing. But the truth was, I missed my daughter's wedding because I didn't like the man she chose. After that, our conversations became sparse and mechanical. A few texts around the holidays. A birthday call, maybe. Her voice had changed, polite but cautious. Never too warm, never too personal. Like she was talking to someone she used to trust, but wasn't sure if she should anymore. I didn't get updates on their life. I didn't hear about the first apartment, the road trips, the little inside jokes that once would have made her laugh. At the dinner table, I wasn't invited to Sunday brunches. I wasn't asked for advice. She stopped needing my opinion. She stopped needing me, and I convinced myself it was temporary. That she'd come around. That the marriage would crumble, and she'd come back home, wiser, ready to admit I was right. But what if I was wrong? That's the thing no one tells you when you root for someone to fail just to validate your fears. You end up rooting against the person you love, and slowly, they feel it. And they go quiet. Not because they hate you, but because silence is safer than hoping you'll finally see what they see. It was a Tuesday afternoon when the world shifted. I was at work, sorting through a stack of files that didn't matter, when my phone buzzed with a message. "Dad, he's in the hospital. It's serious, please come." My hands went cold. My mouth dried. And in that moment, all the reasons I'd ever given for staying away crumbled under the weight of one word. "Please." I drove faster than I should have. I rehearsed what I'd say, how I'd enter the room, how I'd apologize. I kept thinking, what if it's too late? Not just for him, but for everything. For her trust, for our relationship, for the version of me she used to need. When I walked into that sterile hospital room, the air hit me like a wall. He was pale, wires running across his chest, machines humming beside him. And she was there, her eyes red and swollen, holding his hand like it was the last rope tethering her to the earth. And for the first time, I really saw him, not as the boy who wasn't good enough, not as the threat to my authority, not as the disappointment I imagined. I saw the man my daughter loved. The man who showed up when she was sick, who cooked her dinner when she worked late, who made her laugh on the worst days. The man who, despite my rejection, still asked her if she wanted me there. The man who was now clinging to life with her at his side. She looked up at me, eyes wide with 100 emotions, and all I could say was, "I'm here." It didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the years of silence, but it cracked something open in both of us. That night, sitting outside the hospital with vending machine coffee in my hands, she told me stories about their struggles, about their quiet wins, about how scared she was. And I just listened, not as a critic, not as a father with advice, just as someone who had missed far too much and was trying, finally, to catch up. Regret doesn't always show up in dramatic scenes. Sometimes it arrives in a hospital hallway, in the tight grip of your daughter's hand, in the soft confession, "I wish she'd been there." And all you can say is, "Me too." He made it through. Not without scars, not without pain, but he pulled through. And I was there, not as the father-in-law he never had, but as the man who should have been there all along. It was awkward at first, quiet, a lot of things unsaid. But he nodded when I entered the room, and I nodded back. That was the beginning. Later, when he was home and recovering, my daughter invited me over. I hadn't set foot in their house before. I looked around and saw their life photos of them laughing. A small fridge covered in silly magnets and grocery lists. Books piled beside a couch worn in all the right places. There was nothing extraordinary about it, but it felt full, lived in. Love-in. She made tea. We sat at the table where they probably had 1,000 breakfasts together. She didn't say much at first, and neither did I, and then I said the words I should have said years ago. "I'm sorry. I should have trusted you." Her hands trembled just slightly. I saw her blink a few times, swallowing hard, trying to keep control of herself. She didn't rush to forgive me. She didn't pretend everything was okay. She just nodded slowly and said, "I wanted you there, Dad. I really did." And that cut deeper than anger ever could. I had missed firsts I would never get back. The first time they moved into a place of their own. The first time he got a new job and they celebrated with takeout and a bottle of wine. The nights they fought and made up. The early mornings when everything felt possible. I wasn't part of any of it. Not because they shut me out, but because I shut myself in. Forgiveness came slowly. Not in one big moment, but in small gestures. An invitation to dinner, a photo sent over text, a warm hug goodbye that lingered longer than the last. I could feel the door opening again, inch by inch, but I also knew some things couldn't be rewound. I would never walk her down the aisle. I would never be in her wedding photos. I would never be the father who beamed proudly on her biggest day. And the man I once doubted? He didn't need my approval anymore. He'd already built a life without it. There's a cost to pride that people don't warn you about. It steals moments. Moments that don't come back. And I paid that price. In full. If I could go back, I wouldn't change her decision. I'd change mine. I would listen more. I would ask better questions. I would say, "If you love him, I want to know why." I would have tried to see what she saw, instead of staring so hard at what I thought was missing. It's easy to believe that we know what's best for the people we love, especially our children. We carry this weight that says we must protect them from every wrong turn, every heartbreak, every mistake. But sometimes, the protection we offer becomes the prison they have to break out of. I thought I was guarding her future. I was really guarding my fear. Fear that she would be hurt. Fear that I'd be irrelevant. Fear that I couldn't control the story anymore. And in doing that, I became the hurt. So if you're listening to this now, maybe because there's someone you're pulling away from, someone whose choices scare you, or someone you've already pushed out, ask yourself, what matters more, being right or being there? I lost years, I lost memories, I lost her trust. But I was lucky I got the chance to earn a piece of it back. Not everyone does. Don't wait until it's too late to say the words that matter. Don't wait for a hospital room or a crisis to wake you up. If your heart is aching because of distance between you and someone you love, take the first step. Even if your voice shakes, even if the pride still lingers, even if they don't respond right away, Because one day, you might be sitting in a quiet room, staring at the space where someone should be, whispering, "I wish I'd shown up differently." And trust me, "No, I told you so" is worth that silence.